Hello. This is a series I've wanted to do for a while. It's meant as a sort of advice series to help novice writers or storytellers learn the finer intricacies of what it means to be a writer, what it means to write. How do you write? How do you know if what you've written is good? How do you know if what you've written is, well, readable? And the things I learned over my own experiences and research is going to be the basis of this series. I have not been, I don't know if you can be formally trained in how to write. I guess you could get a degree in English, but that's about as close as you can get to being a professionally trained author. I don't even think authors do internships. I don't think you do. No, I don't think authors have people shadowing them to learn how to write. I think you just sort of have to try on your own if you don't explicitly ask someone for help. This is your free course on how to write. Now, granted, I'm not an expert in this field. I don't truly believe anyone is. Even people who have been in this field as their stable career for years and years, such as Stephen King, are still learning and improving their craft. I don't think you ever stop improving your craft, because writing is an art form, and like any art form, it's constantly evolving. What I learned through writing for most of my life, alongside observation and research, is what's going to be this series. It's going to be the base of this series. My group of friends started a little writing club. We write our stories, we critique each other, we give each other advice, we give each other our opinions. It's basically like having a group of beta readers, which is incredibly helpful. It also keeps everything structured so that we actually write. I found out leaving school, that is graduating college, I needed that structure in my life. And I'm not talking structure like I have a day job. I do have a day job, but that's not the structure I need. The structure I need is sitting down somewhere and having people hold me accountable to keep focus. Because without that, I suck at this. I have no less than 4 to 8 projects going at once. I draw as well, so not all my projects are strictly written, but I'm very bad at managing my time. Having a writing club helps me with that. So if you can do that, my first advice is get a group of people to help you write. It's incredibly helpful. I plan to cover a lot of bases in this series, but I don't yet know how many episodes this whole thing's going to end up being. I have a lot of ideas written down in my notes here, but in no particular order, so I may put out an episode for one topic and then 3 months later put out a part 2 that's like 7 videos later. I don't know yet. It's just what I will put out, in whatever order I will put it out in, because there is no structure to this. Before I begin, this is just the intro video, but before I get into this, I just want to point out that, for me, personally, I just find writing encapsulating. It is a craft with the power to weave stories for others to enjoy and explore. It's a way to teach lessons, make points, explore themes, address social issues. You can do virtually anything you want in a book. You can write virtually anything you want. That could lead to some issues, but put a pin in that for another video. I just think it's beautiful. And, well, the majority of popular written media, I should say, is fiction. We consume a lot of fiction. It's a way to escape, which is valid, especially today. But, I think fiction is mostly so popular because you craft an entire world for someone to explore, for someone to experience, on their own terms, at their own speed, on their own time. You just pick up a book and pick right up where you left off. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's just awesome. I love it. You can do anything your imagination can come up with in a fictional book. Because guess what? You set the world's rules. You are basically God. That said, most writing is not something that hits the mainstream every time. You don't get hits like The Hunger Games or Harry Potter or Stephen King's entire novella series. Hit or miss movies, that's not the point. You don't get those just off the bat. It's kind of a game of luck on some level. You have to hit a niche audience, you have to publish at the right time, you have to market your book. That's the important part. You gotta market your book. Put a pin in that, we'll come back to that in another video. That's not the point. The point is, don't get discouraged by that, okay? I self-published my first novel, and I'm currently writing its sequel, but I haven't sold very many copies. The fact I sold a single copy blew my mind. I will never forget that. The fact I sold something, I made money off of that. Someone enjoyed my creation enough to buy the book. And apparently tell some friends, because I've sold copies outside my range of social circles, and that's just the best feeling in the world. That said though, thousands and thousands of books will not go past where my first book has gone. It will reach dozen people, maybe a couple of hundred, if you're lucky, a couple thousand. But that's no small feat, mind you. The book market is oversaturated as it is. The fact that my book sold at all, I was floored. I was ecstatic. I'm already writing the sequel, and it hasn't even been, I think it's only been a few months, actually. Maybe a year? Not entirely sure. I have the next 5 books planned, but that's not the point. For all accounts, there are some really incredible books out there that you may not know exist. And that's fine. You'll probably find them eventually. If nothing else, someone's going to read your book. You'll find your niche audience at some point. Just market it. Things like Harry Potter and the Hunger Games are like 1 in a billion cases. You get a smash hit, possibly your first time. I think for J.K. Rowling it was her first time. You get a smash hit that fast. That's not typical in the world of authorship. No. No. Though I do feel bad for all of the publishers who passed up on Harry Potter. They really, really fucked that up. You don't even get hits like Chronicles of Narnia, probably as your first hit. Mostly just because Chronicles of Narnia, if you've ever read the book series, the movies followed like every other book. I have no freaking idea what happens in book 1. I think the first Chronicles of Narnia movie was book 2. It's kind of like How to Train Your Dragon. It got the movie rights. It is nothing like the book. Or in the very least, it very, very loosely is based off the book. They used the book as a stepping stone, as a foundation, and then went from there. You will not find a book like How to Train Your Dragon before How to Train Your Dragon. If there is one, send it to me. Also, just a little side note, do not try and turn a screenplay into a novel or vice versa. They are very different things. You do not write them the same way, and editing them into being the other is harder than people think. Over-describing a scene for a screenplay helps the, crew set up the scene. Over-describing a scene in a book puts your reader to sleep. Just bear that in mind. Put a pin in that, it'll be another video. That's beside the point. The point is, this series is just going to be what I've learned. It's going to be what I personally know, what I personally, effectively Googled, frankly. But themes, how to handle themes, how to write an effective villain, all the different types of villains. That's definitely going to be a multi-parter series. I'm not going to fit all that into one video. How to write your heroes, how to write power scales, how to write magic systems, how to do world building 101. There are thousands of videos and articles on that. You will have no trouble finding it. But I gleaned my own stuff from this. I've been writing casually and semi-professionally since I was about 6 or 7. I've been doing this a while. I've researched a lot. I've learned a lot. One piece of advice I could give you from this introductory video is when you're watching something or reading something, do it for fun at first, and then do so again as a learning experience. Analyze it this time. Don't just enjoy the ride. Look at it. Think about it. It'll help you a lot. And for now, I'm going to leave you with that. I'll return again in another video. Hopefully it won't take me a year to get it out. But like I said, I have like 6 or 7 projects. This is on the list now, going at once because I can't focus on one thing at a time. So we'll just see how long that takes.